David would. David would be happy.
gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All over Burlington, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Burlington, I'm gonna let it shine. All over Burlington, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Till all my friends are free, I'm gonna let it shine. Till all my friends are free, I'm gonna let it shine. Till all my friends are free, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine out for liberty, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine out for liberty, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine out for liberty, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time, just our voices. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. Our call to worship today comes from Kristen Grassel-Schmidt, a Unitarian Universalist minister. Breath of life beating in our hearts, coursing through our veins, filling our lungs in and out. We bring our whole selves to this moment. The high points and the low points of the past week lingering in our minds. The successes and failures of days and decades long gone, echoing still in our egos. The hunger for meaning, truth, and purpose guiding our spirits. Breath of life, we come not only to breathe in peace, filling ourselves with all that is good and beautiful and true. We come also to breathe out, to empty ourselves of all that's too heavy, too painful, too much. So for this hour together, we pause in the midst of our busy lives. We set aside the to-do lists, the problems to be solved, and the challenges to be overcome. And we sit, and we sing, we laugh, and we may even cry. We breathe in, and we breathe out, as we open our whole beings to the mystery. Come, let us worship together. Please join me in our chalice lighting words, and if you know them, say them extra loud so that anyone who's visiting and doesn't know them, or anyone who's new and doesn't know them, can join in and learn them alongside you. We kindle this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
So I get to say good morning too. Good morning. We are outside, in case you hadn't noticed. The world is with us and we are with the world, and that is a good thing. So welcome to worship at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, a congregation committed to seeking truth, advocating for justice, practicing compassion, cherishing life and possibility. We recognize that our meeting house, sited here for more than 200 years, is on land that for centuries has been the home of the Abenaki people who are still here. We are guests in this place, taking on responsibility for its stewardship as we are responsible for stewardship of the earth, source of all life. My name is Tricia Hart. I'm the developmental senior minister of this congregation, and I am very glad and a little bit sad to share this service for one last time with Rowan Van Ness, our ministerial intern this year. We're here today to say goodbye to Rowan as she finishes this chapter of her preparation for ministry, and mostly to celebrate Rowan, to celebrate that ministry, to celebrate this whole idea that we teach each other important things. I want to thank James Stewart, our music director, for being here, to Woody Fulton, who along with David McFeeters imagines and runs tech. Now, you need to understand, they do run tech, but they also spend a fair amount of time imagining cool things that we haven't yet done. Right, David? Right, Woody? So the thing that is happening today, you all might want to turn and wave at the camera. Probably most of you won't be on it, but that's the camera that we normally have inside the sanctuary, and they figured out a way to, I understand from James, it's a fair amount of MacGyvering to make this happen. But we're on camera as well as audio for being outside. Woo! I'm grateful to our new, first time, new greeters too. So Sal Millichamp's sister, who actually has her own name. Yes. Where are you? Okay. Nancy. And Terry Perkins, her husband, who are our greeters. So what that means is, I apologize, Nancy, I'll never forget again. What that means is if you are new, and are any of you new, like dropped in today for almost the first time or the first time? So cool, more over there. So everybody in the congregation can be a greeter, right? All of you know what to do if you meet somebody new. But if you have particular questions or you want to make sure to get on the mailing list or have a name tag, Nancy and Terry are the people that you should check with. There are also, I just want you to know, there are children's activities happening right now in the Memorial Garden. So that's right over there. And there will be coffee hour in that direction, in person, outside the Memorial Garden after this service, and on Zoom at 11:15 for those who are online. It may still be summer, but many things are already happening, gearing up for the new congregational year. There are lots of exciting plans for faith development classes that it will start in about a month. It's a little shocking living in Vermont to realize when you're in early August how close the other seasons are. I won't mention them. But wonderful things happen in the fall and the winter too, and registration is open now, and there's lots of information on the website about those faith development classes. People of First UU come from many different backgrounds and hold a variety of religious and spiritual beliefs and practices, and this is a good thing. We strive to be a radically welcoming community. Whoever you are, whatever it took for you to be here today, for you to be with us today, wherever you are on your journey, whatever your questions, your fears, your hopes, you are welcome. We're glad that you are here now with us. Take a breath. Ooh, I think we should do that again. That smelled good. Let us worship. And let us sing.
I invite you to stand with me in body or in spirit, and we'll sing together these words of Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. That's all there is to it. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Just our voices. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Thank you. Please be seated.
So Tricia invited me to share with you some reflections from my internship with you all. So for those of you who don't know, I am on the journey of becoming a minister, and I first joined you last August, around the 15th. Today's the 14th, so almost exactly a year ago. And I was thinking, what are the things that I have learned about you and learned about me? And the first thing I wanted to share is that I experienced enthusiastic welcome and support. From the first time that I accepted this internship, I was hemming and hawing. I was thinking about a couple other internship location possibilities, but I said, Burlington it is. I'm coming to Burlington. And not that long afterwards, I got this little package in the mail, and it had a card, and it had a First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington bag, and it had some Lake Champlain chocolate, and a postcard of Burlington, and even a 7 days, so I could imagine what people in Burlington were reading. There were probably other goodies in there too, I don't remember. But it made me feel sure, wow, these people really are excited about me coming. And I felt really welcomed. And then I got pregnant and I was gonna have a baby. And this congregation decided to step up and support me with that. I experienced having some paid time to be with my baby right afterwards, after giving birth. Flexibility to extend an internship that was initially going to end in June. Instead, I stretched it out to end in August. And many of you cooked me meals or ordered delivery for my family and I during those early days and early weeks when cooking was really a chore. And I realized that those experiences were not one person in this congregation's decision, but they were many individuals' decision to show up, to welcome me, to support me in my time here. And I felt so welcomed. It is truly a gift to be someone working in this congregation with these staff, with you all. What a great employer and what a great place to work. I also made me start thinking, I wonder if that's unique to being an intern. I wonder if everyone who shows up experiences this kind of welcome. And it made me wonder, what have you all appreciated in the times that you've been showing up and showing up again? What has made you feel welcomed? What would you like it to be? And how can you make it more so? I wonder if people sign up for each other's meal trains equally, or if some people, like the new intern, get more meal train sign-ups than maybe someone who's less known in the congregation. I have the privilege of being in front of you and having been known by more of you. And I hope for you that there are ways that everybody can experience some of the welcome and care. As your ministerial intern, I recognize the warmth of a deeply caring religious community, and I hope that that is what you experience from and with each other. The second thing I wanted to share is that I've seen a responsiveness in this congregation. In the fall, as I was coming into my office at the building around the corner, I noticed that there were people who were using drugs at the picnic table that was outside of my office. And I wasn't really sure how I wanted to respond, or what I should do or shouldn't do, or how to welcome people, or how to show up. And I brought those experiences to you all in a worship service in the end of November. In conversations with staff, I learned that staff had been cleaning up needles and syringes for weeks, months, years prior, trying to keep these grounds, these sacred grounds, safe for everyone who wants to use this place and this space, and to make sure that that this place is safe for all who want to use it. As a result, many others in the congregation were less aware of all of the different people who seek refuge on these grounds and the different behaviors that sometimes make some people feel more safe or less safe than others. Many of us came together to figure out what our next steps should be. How does this congregation want to respond, and why? A number of you are working hard to explore these questions right now. As a ministerial intern, I learned that it is through partnership, clergy, staff, and lay leaders together that important and timely projects can be tackled. Third, you are a congregation who has chosen to do something for the larger Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. Internships are part of the training process for all ministers. As I'm in my own formation process, it was part of the requirements that I seek out a congregation to do some learning and some growth in partnership with a fellowshipped minister. You all are going to be going into search soon, as Trisha's time as the developmental senior minister comes to an end at the end of next year. You will be looking for a new minister to come and serve this congregation. When you want to have the people who come and serve your congregation be trained, it is important that some congregations are choosing to do that training. This is a congregation that has chosen to do that. I've gotten to know a number of you who have been involved in Unitarian Universalist congregations in other parts of the country prior to moving up to Burlington. I also know a number more of you have only ever experienced Unitarian Universalism here on these grounds at this Unitarian Universalist Society in Burlington. And still, this congregation chose to be in relationship with the larger association of congregations and host an intern this past year. In Unitarian Universalism, we talk about the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, our seventh principle, and hosting an intern serves us all. It has supported my own growth and learning. It presumably, hopefully, has benefited you all, and it has certainly benefited the larger Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations in relationship with each other for mutual benefit. As a ministerial intern, I have deepened my own spirituality, including my sense of interdependentness and connectedness. Life is big and full and messy, and we need each other as much as ever in this time. And as I leave my role of ministerial intern in this congregation, I will take with me the growth and learning that I experienced here in this congregation and the warm memories that I have of you all, both online and in person. And as I will be continuing to live in South Burlington this coming year, I hope and look forward to times when I can come back to visit. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Rowan. Let's pause for a moment. Right here in the middle of this hour of pausing, let us deepen our awareness of where we are, where you are right this minute. And maybe even allow yourself to call to mind, what did you say, Rowan? Life is big and full and messy. So call up, to the extent that you want to, the bigness and the fullness and the messiness of your life and the lives of the people you're closest to. There's a lot of joy, I hope. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of fear, perhaps. We don't let ourselves get too close to that all the time, because it can be overwhelming. But for just these few moments in this safe space, call to mind your joys and your sorrows. I want to mention just two among all of the big, messy, full stories we're holding in our world today. and invite us to hold a thought, some good prayers or wishes for Salman Rushdie and his beloveds, for all of the people, and there are so many of us now, who find ourselves in a place that we think of as safe and familiar and full of goodwill, and are reminded abruptly that violence and hate and danger are actually never far away. It's hard to hold that. It's hard not to retreat from life, and yet being in life is what we are called to do, and making safety and beauty for each other in all the ways that we know how. And secondly, I would like to invite us to remember and extend our good hopes and wishes, however we do that, to the people in this country who are elected officials or on their way to being elected officials. We depend on them in ways that we don't always recall as we exercise our right to be critical of all that is not good about life, about government, about the systems, the unjust systems in which we live. But today, for a moment, let's call to mind those people who have dedicated their lives to public service, whose intentions are loving and good and bold and imaginative, and who struggle in the midst of risk and danger and frustration and occasionally success to bring those visions to reality. Let's remember to hold it all. In a moment, after a bit of silence, I will invite you to come up and choose a stone from the basket, and we'll make a little display on the table here, on our sacred outside green tablecloth, our sacred space that we make. Your stone of joy or sorrow, whatever you're bringing, whatever you're holding today. And we'll make a little sculpture together of this community. But first, let us rest for a moment in the not quite silence of the world. Let us give thanks for all the joys and all the sorrows, all the big, full, messy things that happen to us. It is in responding to them and in reaching out to one another that we grow into the people we are meant to be. During worship, we share of our joys and our sorrows. We also share of our resources, our hopes and dreams and capacities, including our financial gifts. And we do that to remember that the congregation exists because we choose it, because we believe in it, because we want it to be here for us, for our children, for those who come after us. So we take up an offering to remind ourselves of that. That offering is shared between the congregation's operating budget and an organization in the community that is doing the work that our values tell us matters. In this month of August, we are sharing our offerings with Vermont Interfaith Action. I'm going to point over that way because that's where their office is, but it's not really where most of their work happens. They work with this congregation, but with many, many other congregations of all different denominations in the state of Vermont to, quote, create solutions to systemic issues that prevent our most vulnerable citizens from enjoying the quality of life that God intends for us all. A bold mission statement. Your gifts will be shared with VIA. Your gifts make a difference. And because we're sort of liking this getting up and moving around, we're not passing a collection plate, but there is a basket here. And if you would like to come forward as James plays to put in your financial gift, you are welcome to do that. You can also give online. You can also, the mail still works. Christina still gets checks from people in envelopes with postage on them. I have no idea how much it costs to mail a letter, but fortunately, the stamps, do it for us. Your gifts to the offering will be most gratefully received.
You can play your game, you can act out the part, but you know it wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, afraid of playing the fool? One thing can lead to another, it doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out better if you only will. Do as I say. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. Tell me what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. You know it's true what they say about that squeaky wheel, always getting the grease. It's better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. What I'd like to do to you is shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out better if you only will. Can you help me out? We'll sing it like this. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Sing that again. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out better if you only will. Thank you.
When we talk about our work, we ministers often say that it is a privilege and an honor to do what we do. Whenever I say that out loud, it makes me pause and notice and remember for a minute how true that is. It is amazing, actually, that people like you invite a minister into your lives to know you as well as we can as individuals, and also people who together make a particular congregation, because no two congregations are alike. I've served 9 of them, and I've consulted to dozens more, and I will tell you, no two congregations are the same, which is part of what makes this so much fun. You invite a minister to get to know you, to listen as well as we can, to speak about things that matter, and not just once or twice a year, but actually pretty often, and you kind of come back. To work with you and support you as you strive not just to think about and imagine and plan for, but be a beloved community. To make the world a little better, to make yourselves and your communities and your lives good. My work is to celebrate with you and sometimes to grieve with you. This congregation's mission statement says that we are to inspire one another, to care for one another and those around us, to seek truth and act for justice. And I would add that it is also to do everything as a community motivated by compassion, intelligence, conscience, beauty, by a passion for justice. What, Kate? What else?
I think we forgot to do the offering dedication.
We did. See, the congregation just tells us what we need to do. And we're going to let it go just for this 1 week. But thank you for remembering. To try to be a community that pays attention and a community that is guided by love and hope. Now, this is a lot. And you expect all of it of me, and I expect all of it of you. Together, we can sometimes make it happen. Among lots of other responsibilities, you and I participate in one of the most important tasks that we've got, even though maybe you haven't thought of it that way until a couple minutes when Rowan started talking about our responsibility to the rest of Unitarian Universalism. But the deal is that to ensure the future, this congregation needs to help shape those becoming ministers who will be ministers after us. Well, after me, at least. Ministerial internship program is an important thing. And this work of helping to shape ministers is not a small thing. It's not like going to General Assembly and voting once or twice or serving on a board, as important as those things might be. Completing an internship is not optional for Unitarian Universalist ministerial candidates who will serve congregations. It is a requirement for fellowship as a Unitarian Universalist minister. And I would say it's a requirement not just for minister candidates, it's a requirement for the rest of us, too. A very long-standing practice in our religious tradition, you may or may not know this, but you've heard about congregational polity? Maybe you don't know what it means, but David's saying he hasn't even heard of it. Okay, I haven't done my job. Congregational polity means that congregations are in charge of their purpose and their mission and their existence. So that was a bold thing that our Pilgrim and Puritan ancestors insisted on, and that's why they had to have be in a place where the king wasn't in charge, so they could be in charge. So part of that tradition is that ministers literally come out of the congregation and step into ministry. Not because they're appointed by some bishop or a commission, and not just because they feel called by some larger power. Some ministers take this so seriously that they actually sit in the pews or the chairs at the beginning of the service as it begins, so they can literally walk up out of the people into this role that they temporarily have, that they get to wear special clothes to remind themselves that we're doing this. Now, that's not all. You have to go to seminary for 3 years or 4 or 8, depending on your particular plan. You have to do a bunch of field work. You have to do lots and lots and lots of reading and writing. You have to get a degree before you can become a minister, but the degree doesn't do it. It is a congregation that sponsors ministerial aspirants. What congregation is sponsoring you? So the Unitarian Universalist Society of West Newton, have I got that right? Okay, is sponsored Rowan. This congregation is part of Rowan's training as a ministerial candidate. And a congregation is the body that ordains people, that actually makes them ministers. As this congregation did not so long ago with and for Andre Moll, and a few years before that for Roddy O'Neill Cleary. That's what allows you to put Reverend in front of your name, because the congregation says, yes, you. It's a big deal. And nobody else has the power to do it except the congregations. Ministry is an honor, it is a privilege, and very often it is also a delight. And it has been a delight to work with Rowan Van Ness. I've warned her that I am going to talk about her just a little bit, but it won't go on too long. I want you to know that Rowan is brave. She is willing to take on challenges that she doesn't actually already know she knows how to do, ones she hasn't necessarily met before. I mean, gosh, she invited all of you to ask her questions and said she would answer them right in the middle of a service. I mean, brave. Rowan is brave and she cares. She cares about doing things well and making a positive difference. And she cares about people, which of course requires a kind heart, but it also requires courage, I would say. To listen to somebody you don't know, to encourage when you're not sure what the issues are, to grieve when it's with someone, when it's necessary. Being compassionate means trying to help, but even more than that, it means trying to see and accept people and love them as they are. Rowan is brave and she cares, she's intelligent and thoughtful, and she's an awesome storyteller. She likes to laugh, she's not afraid to cry. Vulnerability, failure, disillusionment, even despair, they're all part of life. Other people's lives, and sometimes one's own life too, even as a minister. And Rowan is brave enough and compassionate enough to acknowledge all of that. Rowan is creative and adaptable and flexible, skills that all of us have had so many chances to practice in these last couple of years about technology, among so many other things. This year that we're just finishing was not the year that Rowan and I imagined as we sat somewhere on the marketplace and had coffee and thought that COVID was largely behind us. This year has been a year of connecting through Zoom and live stream and recordings and in person, and sometimes all at the same time. And Rowan has learned to do that and navigated it with grace and skill and helped others to learn to do it too, sometimes me. And I taught her something this morning about computers. So, we're both doing this. Rowan is brave and compassionate and has high expectations for herself and for all of us. And I would say that one way that showed up this year is that Rowan did have a baby, a bold and faithful and very wonderful thing in the world that, as many of us know well, comes with a whole lot of challenges and complications. Rowan dove into all of that, and she asked for and blessedly received so much support from this congregation. I told her that I thought that's what would happen, but I didn't know for sure. And she's right. You did prove that you could rise to that occasion too. The congregation and the staff embraced the challenge along with Rowan and Caitlin, and I am very proud and thankful to be part of this congregation. I'm not surprised, but I'm grateful. So Rowan is brave and creative and flexible and compassionate. And I'm going to tell this story again from my perspective. When she looked out her office window and saw people, more and more people, hanging out on the grounds around the meeting house last fall, people without, one is almost sure, without homes to live in, to be safe in, people using substances to which they were addicted for whatever mix of reasons. And she struggled with her own discomfort and fear. She talked to me, she talked to the internship committee, she talked to others. She took time to learn. She found the courage to get closer to people rather than just trying to manage the problem. What was happening? What could we do? And what did it mean to all of us? What do our values tell us about the right response to people who were here looking for shelter and safety, and our response to those first UU members and neighbors who cherish these grounds as beautiful and safe and sacred? And then she talked to you. She gave a sermon at the end of November, and that did absolutely set in play a whole series of faithful responses to the human story showing up all around us. The Radical Welcoming Initiative is now happening. It was sparked in part by Rowan and supported by her in partnership with many in this congregation, and it is now here to stay. It will outlast her in this congregation, which is exactly what ministry is for. Thank you, Rowan. I want to thank the internship committee too, who are here, Louis de Rosette, who's back there, and Amelia Schlossberg, and Rodney right there, and Ashley Waddell, who's in Colorado, but has been a faithful and active member of this committee. Thank you, Ashley. Jill Allen was also a part of the committee in the first part of the year and added a great deal. The work of the committee has been faithful and intentional and just right, and we owe them our thanks as Rowan owes them her thanks. The congregation does, the UUA, and especially me. So thank you, Rowan. We are so glad that you have been here with us and so grateful that you are part of this religious tradition in which we all share. We wish you every good thing to come. So may it be.
Invite you to stand with me once again in body or in spirit. What I like about these outdoor things that we can do together is it feels a little bit more like camp, doesn't it? So let's sing this one as if we're around a fire together, because we are. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Someone singing. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. And someone's laughing. Someone's laughing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's laughing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's laughing, Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. And someone's weeping. Someone's weeping, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's weeping, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's weeping, Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. Someone's praying. Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. One more time, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. You may be seated for just another moment.
So Rowan's about to come up and extinguish the chalice and do a benediction, but I forgot to say that if you were wondering whether you were going to stay at coffee hour or not, I advise you to decide yes, because there are treats that the internship committee is making possible, in addition to coffee and tea and all the normal stuff. So don't miss it. And after the, maybe if James wouldn't mind, but during the postlude or sometime before you leave this space, would you do me a favor and say hello to somebody, introduce yourself to somebody you don't know? Because there are a bunch of people in this congregation right now that all of us, that some of us, that you don't know, but I don't know. We need to get to know each other, so let's take advantage of that moment. So Rowan.
Please join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. And I am going to ask you to join in our benediction. It is a repeat after me style, and it's one that has been adopted by the children of this congregation this year. So repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
You got it. It is good.
It is good.
It is good to be.
It is good to be.
It is good to be together.
It is good to be together.
It is good to be together again.
It is good to be together again.
And so it is.
So I notice you're kind of doing different songs. Yeah, just kind of moving other things in. I think people will love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice and slow.
Yeah.
Hey,
We put your bracket together.
I was pressed into service.